It's 10 hours.
This is Saurabh, and you're listening to my favorite talk show, The Weekly Show with Aditya.
This is episode 361 on the 7th of May 2021 on this beautiful
This
Friday
is Saurabh, and you're
morning.
listening to my favorite talk show. The Weekly Show with Aditya.
On this beautiful Friday morning. Let's begin with this morning's highlights. We'll be discussing two of the more popular private detectives, law enforcement consultants. But before that, let's see who are the well known private detectives, law enforcement consultants, and who is your favorite detective. Let's look at some of the names. Some of the more popular names are Feluda, Don, Detective Omkar Nath, Santosh Wog and Jack Morgan, Hardy Boys, Byomkesh Bakshi, Madam Marple, Hercule Poirot, Castle, Patrick Jane from Mentalist, Sean Spencer from Psych, Holmes and Watson from Sherlock Holmes, Secret 7, Famous 5, Nancy Drew, Turner and Hooch, Raja Rancho, Robert Blake, Daroga Priyanath Mukhopadhyay, Monk, Supernatural, The Winchester Brothers, Badshah, or rather poorly scripted movie, Karamchand, William of Baskerville and Pink Panther. But this morning we are focusing on Sherlock Holmes and Sean Spencer. But before that, a short break. Welcome back after the break. This morning we are focusing on Sherlock Holmes and Sean Spencer. Let's move forward. One is outspoken, the other laconic, but both are blessed with hyper observational skills, which is true of all the detectives I mentioned, which helps them become a valuable asset while assisting law enforcement officials. Sean Spencer and Sherlock Holmes are as chalk and cheese as can be. They use their photographic memory. So, what is this photographic memory. Eidetic memory, more commonly called photographic memory, is the ability to recall an image from memory with high precision for a brief period after seeing it only once and without using a mnemonic device. Let's move forward and understand both these detectives. Let's look at Shawn Spencer first. Shawn, who is outspoken and is nonchalant and has attention seeking behavior, wants his name in the media, wants his name to be known, which often embarrasses his father. Interestingly, his hyper observational and image recall skills, that is, eidetic memory, were developed from an early age by his father, who himself was a police detective. He dupes, cons his way into police investigations by pretending to be psychic or omniscient and doesn't care for rules governing police procedures. Interestingly, one common thing between all these investigators, private detectives, is that they help the law enforcement agencies catch the culprit, but the final decision to arrest them and book a case against the said accused is on the police. They can only help with their unorthodox methods. And that is, Spencer is one of the unorthodox, one of the more different private detectives that has been in the universe of private detectives. Moving on, only two people apart from him know his secret, and then he has a love hate relationship with the detectives, the police officers he works with, which means that he has a crush on one of the female inspectors, and the female inspector's partner, the male detective, who also has a high ego in terms of he thinks highly of himself and he thinks lowly of Spencer. He is the one who looks at Shawn as a fraud. He often tries to detect how is Shawn able to use his so-called psychic skills, because no one knows that he has a photographic memory. He is able to look at things and then later on recall exactly at which position things were placed. For example, can you remember where in your room you put a certain book? Was it on the right side of your shelf? Was it in the middle? Or did you move them? Or was anything? Or when you come in your room and you see that, are you able to know that the room was tampered with, that your prized possessions were moved? And that is how he is able to use that skill, but he cannot do it directly. If he does that, then the entire show is lost. So he has to use his psychic skills. He has to dupe his way into an investigation by doing that, and only two people apart from him know his secret: his best friend and his father, who himself trained him and who does not approve of Shawn's shenanigans. But apart from such shenanigans, he is a much loved character. Welcome back after the break. The theme song of this particular program will give us an idea as to what is the basic idea behind this show and what the writers wanted. Let's look at the theme song. In between the lines, there's a lot of obscurity. I'm not inclined to resign to maturity. If it's alright, then you're all wrong. But why bounce around to the same damn song? You'd rather run when you can crawl. But the actual theme begins now. I know you know that I'm not telling the truth. I know you know they just don't have any proof. Embrace the deception, learn how to bend. Your worst inhibitions tend to psych you out in the end. In the realm of compliments, there isn't any higher than a fabricated misdirection fashioned by a liar. You think you hate all that you love, acting so surprised when it fits you like a glove. You want to find the answers and offer a solution. Everyone has a healthy dose of disillusion. If it's a game, yeah, they wanna play. You better load the dice because they'll do it anyway, but you'd rather run when you can crawl. I know you know that I'm not telling the truth. I know you know they just don't have any proof. Embrace the deception, learn how to bend. Your worst inhibitions tend to psych you out in the end. Let's look at a contemporary example of this particular song and this particular program. The pandemic is a fabrication and a misdirection fabricated, fashioned by a liar. WHO, also known as World Dishonest Organization. Let's look at the last paragraph of this song. You want to find the answers and offer a solution. You already know what is the solution that people are looking for. Everyone has a healthy dose of disillusion, no doubt about it. If it's a game, yes, it's a game. Everybody wants to play. You better load the dice because they'll do it anyway. And then let's look at the third paragraph. In the realm of compliments, there isn't any higher than a fabricated misdirection fashioned by a liar. And there you go. The pandemic is a fabrication and a misdirection fashioned by a liar. WHO, World Dishonest Organization. Let's move on to the second private detective, Sherlock Holmes. He is more popular than Sean Spencer because he's been a part of literature for at least two centuries, and the way his character is fashioned over the years, and the way literature, that is both books, TV shows, movies, have been made on the character, he becomes a well known and a popular character. He is laconic, keeps his thoughts to himself and focuses on the case, does not look for publicity unlike Sean, another detective with hyper observational skills, focusing on the minor which are often missed by the police. You will have to read and watch the movies and the TV shows to understand this part. He uses unorthodox methods to get answers but keeps the law enforcement agencies informed about any potential answers or potential clues. Works closely with Watson. The Holmes Watson is a popular fictional duo. Keeps his relationship strictly professional and businesslike, and like any popular character, like any protagonist, even Holmes has an adversary in Moriarty. Whether it's Moriarty, that is
It's 10:15.
James Moriarty or Jamie Moriarty, depending on how the writers want to project the particular adversary as male or female. Holmes, like any popular protagonist, has a adversary who can match him with skills, and for whom and Holmes has often fallen prey to Moriarty's deceptions. Let's do a bit of reading from the book Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You will probably have an idea as to how Holmes functions. Let's start the reading section, shall we? In the year 1878, I took my degree of Doctor of Medicine of the University of London and proceeded to Netley to go through the course prescribed for surgeons in the army. Having completed my studies, I was duly attached to the 5th Northumberland Fusiliers as assistant surgeon. The regiment was stationed in India at the time, and before I could join it, the Second Afghan War had broken out. On landing at Bombay, I learnt that my corps had advanced through the passes and was already deep in enemy's country. I followed, however, with many other officers who were in the same situation as myself and succeeded in reaching Kandahar in safety, where I found my regiment and at once entered upon my new duties. The campaign brought honors and promotion to many, but for me it had nothing but misfortune and disaster. I was removed from my brigade and attached to the Berkshires, with whom I served at the fatal Battle of Maiwand. There I was struck on the shoulder by a Jezeel bullet which shattered the bone and grazed the subclavian artery. I should have fallen into the hands of the murderous Ghazis had it not been for the devotion and courage shown by Moray, my orderly, who threw me across a pack horse and succeeded in bringing me safely to the British lines. Worn with pain and weak from the prolonged hardships which I had undergone, I was removed with a great train of wounded sufferers to the base hospital at Peshawar. Here I, here I rallied and had already improved so far as to be able to walk about the wards and even to bask a little upon the veranda where I was struck down by enteric fever, that curse of our Indian possessions. For months, my life was despaired of, and when at last I came to myself and became convalescent, I was so weak and emaciated that a medical board determined that not a day should be lost in sending me back to England. I was dispatched accordingly in the troop ship Orontes and ended a month later on Portsmouth jetty with my health irritably ruined, but with permission from a paternal government to spend the next 9 months in attempting to improve it. This ends episode number 361 on the 7th of May 2021.
For more awesome content, tune into the next episode of the Weekly Show.